The 2000s were a golden era for rock, metal, and pop-punk guitar tones. From the crushing chugs of Slipknot to the punchy anthemic riffs of Green Day, these tones just didn't sound good. They defined a generation, our generation. But what made them so iconic, and why do they still hold up today? Let's break it down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be diving into the top 10 guitar tones of the 2000s. These sounds helped shape rock, metal, and pop-punk as we know it. Whether you were a scene kid with bad hair or you were trying to play an American Idiot riff in Guitar Center, these sounds were everywhere. If anything, they're the reason we had to deal with listening to Line 6 Spider combo amps or had to deal with Pod Farm from Joey. Not only are we going to be talking about this, but we'll definitely be dialing in one or two of these tones to kind of show you guys how you can get those sounds if you want. If you guys are into me doing this kind of content after you see this, make sure to leave a comment below. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Transition game, a little lazy today. Coming in at number 10, Tears Don't Fall, Bullet for My Valentine. Obviously, shout out to Matt and Mike for that because it inspired a generation. Does it still hold up today? Absolutely. People are still using 6505s like nobody's business. This was a combination of that and ESP guitars, which obviously has been metalcore approved since the beginning, and they were right around there in that beginning time. And not to go off on too much of a tangent, I always think about who started metalcore and that idea of breakdowns with like the singing choruses and the screamed verses and stuff like that. And it kind of goes back to Atreyu in my mind. I didn't think they had the best tones ever, but I do think that kind of started the way for this. But yeah, let's keep on going. And if there was anything that we could have learned from this era with Bullet for My Valentine is that every breakdown was going to sound the same for the next 10 years. Coming in at number 9, Blink-182, Feeling This. Alright, so I guess we'll do a tone breakdown of this one. It was big, chunky, and it was clear enough for everyone to hear every note that came out. Why does it matter? This was the sound that shaped pop-punk music, and it was a Mesa Dual rectifier using a Gibson semi-hollow body, which sounds weird, but it worked really well for them. Does it hold up? Absolutely, because there's bands still chasing this sound today. A few years ago, we went through a wave of Machine Gun Kelly-like bands coming out trying to emulate the sound that these guys had and brought to the table. Coming in at number 8, Avenged Sevenfold, Beast, and the Harlot. Now for this one of my favorite guitar players and friends, Matty Shreds, provided the DI for this because he recorded it himself, and we're gonna mess around with this and try to recreate the tone from Avenged Sevenfold. Tone breakdown, this was dual rectifiers again, Schecter guitars, and EMGs. Why does it matter with Avenged Sevenfold? Obviously they blended classical metal with like new style aggression at that point. And the biggest question, does it hold up right now? I say that it still does. It's a little over processed for today's standards, but yeah, definitely that one still holds up for me. If you really think about it, the harmonies that they had back then for Avenged Sevenfold, they were kind of like the Dragon Force for metalcore. Shout out to Guitar Hero. I wish that we still had something like that today that was inspiring new minds. Coming in at number 7, Muse, Stockholm Syndrome. Tone breakdown here. It was fuzzy, kind of synth-like, and really massive. Why does it matter? It brought a futuristic sound to rock music, and I kind of think a lot of what Bring Me the Horizon's doing now is based off of what was happening back then. Does it hold up today? Yeah, obviously most of these are going to hold up today, right? Bellamy definitely has a hold on prog guitarists even today. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Muse growing up, but I went back and had to listen to their catalog and understand what it was I was missing out on. And obviously, you know, one of the best bands that was ever around. Coming in at number 6, Green Day, American Idiot. Tone breakdown, this was P90 pickups with a Marshall Plexi, right? It was raw, it was punchy, and it was loud. And this is one of the albums that changed mixing forever, kind of what took Chris Lord-Alge over the edge and what made him a mainstay and an idol for all of us. Why does this matter? At the time, it kind of showed that there could be a band that wasn't metal that had a larger than life guitar tone. And until then, I don't think we really had one. That became the staple of sound, for having a wall of sound with guitars in rock and pop punk music. Does it hold up? Yes, it still holds up because it's still the sound for punk and for rock music, you know? And it was straight to the punch. As far as I know, Billy Joe still is not using a pedal board. And there's no need for it because they figured it out. Number 5, we're going to go with Slipknot Duality. Jim Root is actually the inspiration for what I did to my Telecaster by putting in the Goto bridge with the humbucker in the bridge slot.
I've left behind this little fact: you cannot kill what you did not create.
So, tone breakdown, they were using a dual rec with EMG pickups, right? At that time, I think a lot of Mesa tones were coming out and they were really muddy, but in Duality, it showed that it didn't have to be like that. Why did this matter? Because Slipknot found a way to make high-gain metal sound controlled and precise. And the big question, does it hold up? Yeah, it holds up, even though now we can get better sounds with newer modern amplifiers and digital production, but it still holds up if you go back and listen to it and you're looking for that old feel. This kind of makes me think of Mick Thompson when he would say, like, if you can't chug, don't even pick up a guitar. And I feel him. Coming in at number 4, Alter Bridge, Metalingus. Mark Tremonti was using a PRS Tremonti signature with a triple rec. It wasn't a dual rec this time. I always liked the dual rec over a triple rec, but obviously he made it sound great. Well, does this matter right now? I would say it mattered. Or why does it matter? I think it matters because it kind of bridged the sound between rock and metal guitar tones at the time. And does it hold up? Yes, it's still one of the best rock guitar tones to this very day. I think this is the reason that Creed fans secretly listen to Alter Bridge and never admitted it. Simply just from this guitar tone. Let's keep it going. Coming in at number 3, gotta bring them back again. Avenged Sevenfold, Backcountry. We all know what was happening here. Sin Gates was still using a dual rec at this time. Clear cutting control over the guitar tones, and it was massive. Why does it matter? This was the main guitar tone that any shredder ever wanted to have since around 2006. And does it hold up? We gotta go with, it's holding up. It's a similar thing to what I said before. You can get a bit more precise of a tone in this way with digital amplifiers and with modern amplifiers that are paying a lot more attention to what's happening in the low end. The more that people were tuning lower than standard and drop D, the more that you were getting a lot of the flub going around, and amplifiers under a certain number of hertz. I would say 100 and under was always a problem for those amplifiers, and they figured it out with modern amp designs. Coming in at number 2, Pantera, Revolution Is My Name. Tone breakdown. What was Dimebag using? He was using that Randall Warhead, that MXR pedal. It was solid state too, which is nuts. Why it matters? This is one of the guitar tones that was instantly recognizable. It was extremely scooped and sharp. Anytime you heard Dimebag's tone, you knew that it was his sound. I used to have his Crankenstein Plus amplifier, and that sounded exactly like his sound. It was a little ratty, but it did shred. Does it hold up? As influential as this one was, I'm going to say no, because that ice-picky, scraping sound is just not pleasant to any of us anymore, so that one wasn't it. And now, number one coming in, Tool, Schism. This was Adam Jones with a Diesel VH4 and Gibson Les Paul. It was a really dark and heavy tone, but it still had warmth and clarity to it. And I think that's why it was so beautiful for the time. That actually transitioned into metalcore, and then when people tried to bring dad rock back, all of this was kind of based off of this sound, if you ask me. Why does it matter? Because this is still a reference tone today for metal and hard rock music. And does it hold up? Obviously, Tool's one of the only bands whose production is timeless. It holds up today, and I don't think it's ever going to die out. So there you have it, the top 10 guitar tones of the 2000s. Some of these are still referenced today, and a few of them are sort of outdated. But I want to know what you guys think. Did I miss a tone? Is there one that's overrated? Leave it in the comments below, and I'll chat with you fine people like I always do. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and notification bell so you can see more content like this. Of course, let me know if you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be back at it soon.